Hi, welcome to the YouTube channel. This is Nine Priest, and in today's video, we'll be having a top-down analysis on EURUSD, GBPUSD, XAUUSD, USDJPY, GBPJPY, and AUDJPY. Okay, so on the EURUSD, as you can see, we're having a 4-hour bearish wick of structure. Okay, so we had this block here. Price mitigated that block and then looking to break the wick low. Okay, so when you go to the 30 minutes time frame, price gave this as an equal high liquidity. So despite mitigating this H4 supply, I wanted price to sweep this liquidity and mitigate this M30 supply and then dish out. But we didn't see that in the price action. Okay. So after mitigating that higher time frame supply, price came back. Okay. Broke some internal structures here. All right. And on the 50 minutes time frame, you're having this supply block that is dishing out price. All right. So I didn't take this entry because of that liquidity above, because of this equal high liquidity, that equal high liquidity. Okay. So I wanted price to sweep that equal high liquidity, mitigate this supply, and then dish out. But I didn't see that in the price action. Okay. So let's go to the daily time frame. So on the daily time frame, we're having this demand block here. Okay. We have these imbalances here. So all the price ranges here are efficient. Okay. So we only have this inefficiency here. So price can come back, mitigate that fair value gap, and then give a confirmation, then we move upside to break this daily week high. All right. So that's my narrative for AUD. So I'll be waiting for price to either break and close below, and then look for another setup, or reverse to mitigate this supply block, give me a lower time frame confirmation, and then I will sell to break the H4 week low. All right, because of this equal high liquidity, we have this one and the two tap equal high liquidity. Okay, so let's go to the XAUUSD. So on XAUUSD, as you can see, I'm having a trade currently, and this is the point I will take to pass my day challenge, my challenge account. Okay, so as you can see, I'm targeting 3.69 risk to reward. All right, so let me break down the trade for you. So on the daily time frame, as you can see, we are bearish on the GBPUSD. All right, we have this daily liquidity here, and then we have this imbalance with a supply block here. Okay, so this supply block is the daily supply block. All right, as you can see, the supply block didn't fail. So after mitigating this daily supply block, price liquidated the early sellers. So on the 4 time frame, as you can see, we had this shift here, lower time frame change of character here. So this is our 4-hour structure. Okay, this is the 4-hour structure. So on the 4-hour time frame, this is the 4-hour range. All right, that's the 4 hour range. Okay, so on a 4 hour time frame, we had this supply block here. All right, we had this supply block, and as you can see, the supply block, the demand block failed. Okay, sorry, demand block. The demand block failed, and then on a 30 minutes time frame, on the 30 minutes time frame too, we are having this 30 minutes demand block here. Let me get rid of this. We're having this 30 minutes demand. Okay. So I was waiting for price to mitigate this other block to take a buy entry. Okay. So I was waiting. Let me get rid of this one. I was waiting for price. I was waiting for price to mitigate this after having a lower time frame structure shift here. So my entry was on this with my stop loss below, and my take profits was on this daily change of character supply zone. You see, because we had a lower time frame change of character, and the higher time frame for the daily supply is holding, not failing. So I was waiting for price to get to my demand block to buy to sell. That was my idea. But as you can see, price never tagged me in. It went down, smelled my, it went down, couldn't mitigate my demand block, and then pitched out. All right. So I missed that entry. I missed that entry. I missed this entry. And then price mitigated this supply block and then dishing out. All right. So this is my entry right now. So what I'll be waiting for is price to break this low and then look for a continuation to the downside to mitigate demand zone. Wait for 4 hour change of character and then buy to the upside to take this buy side liquidity. Okay. So when you go to a 60 minute time frame, we're having this supply block here. Okay. This is an inducement because it didn't take any major structure. All right. That is an inducement. Okay. And also, we'll be waiting to see how price reacts to this zone here to see if you can have a buy setup here. But I'll be looking for price to break this low because I see all these as an inducement because GBP is weak, and then my high time frame analysis shows a bearish move. Okay. So let's wait for price to break this low and then look for an entry on GBP USD. Okay. So on gold on the 4 hour time frame, this is not a break of structure on the 4 hour time frame. So we have this. So this is a bearish for breakout structure to the downside. Okay, so let's see on the 4 time frame. Let's see. So as you can see, price broke structure here. Okay, and then we had this supply zone to push the price further downside. But as you can see, the supply zone failed. It failed. And then we're having this internal breakout structure to the upside. So let's go to the 30 minutes time frame. So on the 30 minutes time frame, we're having this supply zone. Okay, because let's see if you have an imbalance here. As you can see, we have a small imbalance here. So I take into consideration any imbalance in the price line. Okay, that's the imbalance in the price line. So on the 30 minutes time frame, we're having this zone and then this zone to focus. So this is a 30 minutes demand zone, and then this is a 4 hour demand zone. Okay. So on the 1 hour time frame, we can reduce this to this. So we will take this 1 hour order block. So we'll be waiting for price to mitigate either this or this. And then we look for a lower time frame confirmation to take the price to break the weak high. Sorry, the strong high because of the supply zone failing. Okay. So my trade idea for gold would be this. That's my trade idea for gold. Okay, this is a 6.9 risk reward and this is a 8.13 risk reward. Okay. So you work with confirmation here, all right? Or you can set a buy limit on this, or still work with the confirmation on the lower time frame. Okay. So on USDJPY on the 4 hour time frame, you don't have any structure on the 4 hour time frame. Okay. So I missed this explosive move on the USDJPY. So I'm waiting for price to break this week high and then come down, break the low, and then I'll look for a continuation to a demand block and then buy again. Okay. So when this breaks the week high, we'll have this as our demand block for the daily time frame. All right. So this will be a liquidity. This too will be a liquidity. Okay. So we'll be waiting to see how price will react from those zones. Right. So on the daily time frame, this will be a liquidity on the daily time frame. Okay. So on a 4 hour time frame, we have the liquidity and the liquidity here. All right. So we don't have any structure on the USDJPY. On GBPJPY, I had a trade here. Okay. So I had this 4 hour break of structure to the upside. I had this demand zone. It failed for me. Okay, it failed, and then I had this lower time frame change of character. So on the 30 minutes time frame, as you can see, we had this change of character on the 30 minutes time frame. Okay, so I was waiting for price to mitigate this demand zone, and then I'll look for a fractal confirmation shift. Okay, to then take the price upside. As you can see, price didn't mitigate that demand zone and I missed that entry. Okay, so on the 4 hour time frame too, so again on the 4 hour time frame, we had this break of structure to the upside. So on the 30 minutes time frame, as you can see on the 30 minutes time frame, I had this other block. So the liquidity on that other block was here. This was my liquidity low. So I waited for price to give a lower time frame shift here and then take out the early bias and then give another shift. And then I entered on the 30 minutes supply zone here. Okay. So without a liquidity, wait for price to engineer a liquidity. So the liquidity was the external low. So I was waiting for price to either sweep this low, mitigate this M15 block, give a shift and then head upside, or give a fake change of character, sweep that change of character low, give another change of character, and then I'll enter. So that's what exactly price did. So I entered on this M30 demand block with my stop loss on the low here, and then I take profits. 1:3 risk to reward, right? And as you can see, price even went up better to give a 1:5.6 risk to reward. Okay, so that was my trade on GBP JPY. So as of now, we are still waiting for price to give us what to do. So I'll be waiting for price to either break this low and then look for a selling opportunity to this zone and then buy again. Okay. So when we break this, we look for a sell, okay, to this demand zone and then we buy again. Okay. So on the AUDJPY, I had a trade here too on AUDJPY. So on AUDJPY, this is the demand block, and we had a mitigation with a low time frame fractal shift here, our lower time frame fractal. Sorry. So this is our lower time frame fractal shift, and then I entered on the 4 hour order block. So I was targeting this liquidity here. So this was the liquidity I was targeting for a 1 to 3 risk to reward. Okay. So that's my narrative for the pairs in the upcoming week. But we have a potential on the gold and then the Euro USD if it reverses.